Thanks for stopping by Big Top Gaming. My name's Brian.
And I'm Ethan.
And we got a 75 battle report. We have a 75-point battle report.
There you go.
Yeah, that was good.
So this week I'm doing something I've never done. I'm actually playing some stuff that's in Sid. Normally I avoid playing Sid stuff because it's not really finalized and like it's kind of all over the place, but I decided to bust out minions to get some of that Vengeance of Dunia action going on.
Are you playing minions or trolls?
I'm playing Trinions. Because I am playing a minions list with literally 3 minions or 3 Farrow models.
Yeah.
Like, I guess because the Dhunians are partisan Trollbloods.
They should be trolls.
They are, aren't they?
They're partisan, but they're not Trollbloods.
So anyway, my list is Lord Carver, and he's got a Mountain King, a Sea King, and a Pyre Troll. So a big 120s that he never gets to play with. I got double Dhunian as my rec options. I have a Trollkin champion hero as my third, and then I'm trying out Boomy 3 with double Sappers, and then I have a min unit of Krielstone Bears and Stone Scribe Elders, and I think it's worth pointing out like a couple of the synergies here in case you don't know like through the Sid stuff. So the Trollblood Warbeasts become minion, but they don't become Pharaoh. So like the mobility, batten down the hatches works on the kings, but they don't get my feet. I literally have one model in the entire army that benefits from my feet, and that is Carver, because the Sappers don't have a melee weapon, they have Gunfighter. And then, yeah, that's pretty much the gist of it, and then I'll go over some of the tricks when we're actually playing.
So I decided to bring Cryx this time, and my army's being led by Captain Rahera, and we're playing it in Scourge of the Broken Coast. Now, I think Captain Rahera's got a really like neat feel to her, but she does have like this real combined arms feel between warjacks and infantry. So my battle group is looking pretty thick. I've got a Satyxis Blood Priestess to help me upkeep some spells, and she can do some cool stuff on her own. I've got a Sepulcher, Kharybdis, a Slayer, and 1 Stalker. So the Sepulcher, I think, between Sepulcher and Kharybdis, I can threat a long way, and Manifest Destiny is really nice with them. My original goal when I built this was to kind of leverage the threat ranges with the pull on Sepulcher, but going into 2 Troll Kings is not going to pan out the way I wanted it to. For the rest of the list, though, I'm taking requisitions with 2 Warwitch Sirens, and then I've got of course, the Blood Priestess is a rec option, too. The Sirens are just going to help me with Rahera's focus load. She doesn't really have a whole lot and wants to be using a lot of it. I also brought Warwitch Initiate Deneghra, or Denny 0, and she's got a Deathripper to help get Curse of Shadows out there and pump some extra damage. And then for units, I've got a full unit of Satyxis Raiders and then a min unit of Blood Witches. Neither of these have unit attachments, which is kind of rough. I wish I could adjust the points to make them fit in here, but I kind of wanted them to just be things to make gang happen instead of actually trying to do a little bit more with them. So we'll see how this works out and see if Rahera can do anything to a couple armed 25 war beasts.
24, son.
Sure, it's 20. When it gets over like 22, it doesn't matter anymore.
So I won the role to go first, and I felt like I had to go first. I know I always say that, but I needed to be able to cast mobility and put some fury in the stone. And if I let him go first, his range 4 jacks threaten my AD line. So like I have to put down batten and mobility bottom of 1. So I'd rather go first, mobility, not have to put down batten, just keep Carver safe, and then I can ditch 3 into the stone. It's only a min stone because I'm planning on bricking up pretty hard. So I'm okay with there only being 5 dudes in the unit. I will preclude this game with saying like I have never played with troll models. I play minions, so I know minions well, but there's going to be some messes. I just want to prelude with that.
We also have some proxy stuff going on here too. Like I had to build some of the 120s like the day before, so there just wasn't much I could do with them. But the Storm Troll is taking up the place of a Pyre Troll right now, and then there's a couple commandos that are playing Sappers, and then I think I'm using Valka instead of a Trollkin champion hero just because I haven't built mine yet and I couldn't find him. And then on my side of the table, the scavenger that's up in the top is actually a Stalker. For whatever reason, I had a an order sitting at my not so local game store to go burn out and pick up so I could get the rest of the Cryx pieces that I needed for this. And I think I had a Pyre Troll sitting there too, but like I just didn't go. So that was my mistake.
And here you're seeing I screwed up terribly. When I started deploying, I don't think we had objectives on the table.
Yeah, because we forgot they were there and then put them before we started.
So, like, when I had deployment in my mind, I was like, okay, there's my landing zone. And then I didn't register that, oh, yeah, there's an objective there, so I couldn't actually fit. So that Sea King is bogged down way back there, which is not a good plan. So that's mistake number one. And then Boomy, which is proxied by the Axer, just kind of ran up. The water's really cramping this style because he doesn't have Pathfinder, so I'd like to keep him centralized so he can countercharge and go where he needs. The stone walks up, awakens, pops the aura, and then I kind of just pass turn.
So the unfortunate situation of the Sea King was big in my favor because now I feel like I can leverage my big threat ranges because Ethan, his stuff threatens just about the same as mine. That Sea King's really dangerous. So all I have to make sure is if I keep Kharybdis outside of the threat, or Kharybdis and the Sepulcher outside of the threat of the Mountain King, it means that he won't be able to get anything on me with that model, and the Sea King won't be able to affect me either. So that's kind of my goal this turn, is just to get up as far as I can without giving Ethan much of an opportunity to take a bunch away from me. The building is in a really interesting spot, and it wasn't completely on purpose. I usually randomize the terrain through the Crimsy app for most of our games, and if something is completely ridiculous and absurd, I get rid of it or move it around. It's just kind of a template that I work with, because I think originally we had two buildings in the mirrored spot of where they're at. There were two buildings blocking both of those zones, and then Ethan on his side would have had two piles of burning earth, and that just seemed a little ridiculous to me, so I kind of jiggled this a little bit. I think
the building was on the flag too.
Yeah, it was on the flag when we first set it. So I think I don't know if we went over it, but those AoE 4s in the middle, those are your sapper mines.
Yeah, I was going to talk about that. So they're deployed 27 up because it's 20 inch past my deployment zone. Instead of putting down a little token and be like, oh yeah, this is a mine, I thought it would be more intuitive for my opponent to literally put down an AoE 4 and say, this is the explosion radius of my mine. Because if you just put down, like, oh, here's a little, like, focus token, because, like, what's a mine token look like?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little dug-in beady guy.
Yeah,
right?
You just see, like, this little thing there, and then all of a sudden you're running dudes around, and it's like, oh, I pop my mine, it explodes for AoE 4, and you're like, oh, that's the thing. So I just, like, this was me more being, like, showcasing what... Yeah, that way you could see where it is instead of it being a gotcha, which I feel like that's what kind of the mines can be, if you forget what they are.
Yeah, they pull a little bit of that gotcha stuff, and it's weird, but we're doing it this way just for our own purposes, right? So you can see I've just kind of run everything up to stay out of threat, and that's kind of the name of the game right now, since I can leverage these far ranges. For what it's worth, my objective is treasure chest.
Mine's healing. So now he's gotten up the board because the Mountain King threatens 2 inches less than the Sea King, which is also 2 inches less than his jacks. I can't out-threaten him right now, so I have to run the Sea King up there, and that is not what I wanted to do. So, like, I feel like in my mind I'm throwing the Sea King away, but it's better than throwing the Mountain King away because I need Rage to try and reliably, like, one round. Like, I have the Pyre Troll Animus, but he's here more cutely to put it on Boomy or even Carver, because now they can do that, and Carver can do it for free. So Carver would become a POW 17, 18 with Stone Weapon Master on his feet turn, or Boomy goes up to a POW from 13 up to POW 15 with Animite, up to POW 16 with the Stone, with Trash and Amputate. So I'm just trying to leverage some stuff. And there I see the Pyre Troll is an aim range of the Slayer. He's kind of tucked behind the building. I deployed the trenches from my theme, so that one is towing that zone, so that way the Pyre Troll that ran turn 1 is in the zone. It's kind of hard for him to see here. And with the official PP ones, I flipped them upside down because it's better than having that stupid inlay trench. And, like, the bottom even has some bars on it, so it makes it kind of finicky. But like,
Yeah, they really could have made those a little better by just making the inside like wooden plank part 3x4. Instead, they have the little dirt dugout thing, so you can barely see. It's not easy to set models on those and keep an accurate place for them.
so I do end up ambushing one of the sappers because I see I have Reigns of the Light. I think you said that one. That scavenger is actually a stalker.
Yeah, I believe I said that the scavenger is a stalker. If I mix those up, then I apologize, but it is a stalker.
Yep.
And I wasn't trying to pull a fast one on Ethan with this one.
No, I remember you even said it to me, but I looked at it, I'm like, oh, it's a scavenger. It doesn't have stealth. I'll aim. And then it's like, oh, it has stealth. So my AoE misses and goes completely off. So I'm like, that was fun. Because the sappers don't have a melee attack. They have a gun with gunfighter that's AoE 4. So
That could still kill them if they use it.
it's dice -7. So boxcars that kill themselves.
Yep.
Which
It's not a big deal,
it's
but
funny.
it's still fun. I mean,
like it's funny to PP, I guess, because they're like, oh, they charge in, they throw mine, they don't care, ha ha ha. But I mean, it's cute. So there, the Pyre Troll aims, opts not to boost the first hit, misses. A blast damage, I don't even bother boosting, because it's dice -11. I boost the second shot, hit, boost damage.
and here you do pretty good.
Yeah, I do about 8, I want to say. And then set him on fire. So I'm just trying to plan out there. Like, I already put down that proxy base because like that's where the Sea King has to live, and I don't like it, but that's the world I live in right now. So I'm just trying to clear the way, and I want Boomy up there to protect the Pyre Troll, but because of the water and no Pathfinder, like I can't stick him in the water and keep him safe from the Stalker, because I want him to be up far enough where if the Stalker wants to walk and then jump to get to Boomy or the guy, he would be within 6 so that I can countercharge, but if I'm in the water, I can't do it because I wouldn't have the distance. So he hoofed himself. We tried looking it up, and it seemed like per his document, it's just target model unit in his command, so we think he can hoof it to himself.
Yeah, for some reason I had it in my head that he couldn't hoof himself.
They made it living now, so he can't hoof it to Gatsby. We are using weak 2
I think that's
Sid.
probably what it was, is that people were worried about getting hoofed on Gatsby, and that's where I'm mixing it up.
Yep, so he hoofed it himself. He ran tense. Now he can try and like walk around the other side of the zone. Now
I think you're just positioning your stone and figuring out where the champion's going to go.
Yep, that's the champ. Because the whole trick with the Boomy thing is I have the champ, which gives a vet leader for a retaliatory strike. So Boomy, he gets punched. You can Dhunian it, and since he got hit, you can retaliatory strike knock down somebody. So like that's the cute trick. And there you see me hoofing it. But now I'm trying to keep him in both Dhunian ranges. So I actually have to hug him back really tight. So now, like, he's way closer than what I wanted him to be. Like, it's just all about my bad deployment turn 1, and then that's my turn.
So now this is the moment where I've got to try and unpack into dealing with one of these 120s. I have to take one off the table, because if I don't, I feel like my whole army is going to get shredded apart. I think Ethan didn't move the Mountain King, but didn't want to move him either, because if I overkill one of the kings, then you don't want me to get on the second one for free.
I mean, I'm already in threat range of both of the 120 and Kharybdis, because you out-threatened me and you stayed just outside my 12, so, like, in my mind, there's no reason to go farther forward.
Yeah, you're threatening the zone, and there's no reason.
But I know you have a unit of ambushers, so, like, I wanted to keep him back so maybe, like, I could kill shots. And because, like, you are ambushing down there, and, like, I thought that's where you're going to go. So I figured, like, maybe a kill shot spray or something cute like that would help me clear off these dudes, because I don't have a lot of attacks down there. Because, like, it's just a couple stone guys and Carver, who's hiding behind the Mountain King that you can't see. Yeah. Who is not on the flag because the champ... Originally, I was going to have the champ on the flag, but then I realized Boomy had to go so far wide.
Yeah, you needed...
That the champ had to go over there, and I figured like he was going to contest me anyway with one of his 4-inch melee dudes or the ambusher, so I figured it'd just be safer to keep everybody back.
Yep. So essentially here I've allocated 2 to Kharybdis and 2 to the Sepulcher, because I've got those Warwitch Sirens that can... I mean, I didn't allocate them 2. I powered up and then allocated 1, but the Warwitch Sirens are positioned in a way that they can top them off. So... The plan here is just trying to make sure that I can first get Gang Fighter to proc on the Sea King, because I think that's the one I'm going for. It's the one I'm more worried about in terms of what the Animus provides and the threat ranges of that one hook. And this is, I don't mean to complain about trolls a bunch, but having 4-inch reach off of one side of your Colossal is really, really annoying. And it's something I will always lament about the Sea King is that only half of him has 4-inch reach. But I digress, and we'll get back into figuring out Rahera's stuff. So I think I've been sitting in the tank here for a while, figuring out how I want to do things and kind of research. I've kind of like not learning Rahera on the fly, but just kind of like reacquainting myself with her rules, because I just kind of saw her, picked her up, and thought she looked neat. So the Denny's Deathripper kind of runs up in the middle here, and I'm trying to figure out what his final position is going to be so that I can make sure that the Sepulcher doesn't get chunked up, because I think I've got a little bit more flexibility with Kharybdis on the side, him having Pathfinder and that 4-inch reach also. But if the Sepulcher trips up on a Deathripper, then that's going to be really bad, and anything I gained off of the deployment shenanigans early is going to be lost right away. So Deneghra 0 casts out Curse of Shadows and ends up hitting. So we've got a -2 armor buff on the Sea King. So I think with Gang Fighter, Manifest Destiny, and Curse of Shadows, we should be able to take down one of these things all right. But now I'm trying to make sure that if things go well on the Sea King, that I can also make sure that I've got some gang targets on the Mountain King. So I think I miscalculated their threat ranges from the side. I thought that they were 13-inch threat, but they're only 12.5. So I have to run to engage things. So I'm running to engage a Stone Bear or a Stone Scribe, the Mountain King, and then the rest are kind of hanging back so that they can't just be ripped off with a kill shot or something. Next up, I get my Tipsy Satyxis running around, and they can run through this little sapper field, but as long as they don't end in it, they're going to be okay. So I've got one of the Satyxis is tying up, I think it's a Stone Scribe that's up there that she's engaged with, because it's not the champion, it's not a Dhunian thing, it's a something. The Sea King blocks out quite a bit of that. So the rest of these are just kind of shuffling around, and I think I might have done some adjustments to make sure that some of them were a little bit better covered in command, since I don't have the Sea Witch with me. And really they're just there to provide that Gang Fighter bonus, but I end up taking a swing anyways with a couple of them, and they don't really do anything. They're pretty low POW, and your Sea King's sitting at armor 24 right now.
You rolled a 17 on the damage though, so you actually did 3 damage.
Oh, gotcha. Oh yeah, that's right. One of them ate their Wheaties and cranked it hard. I think Rahera's going now, and she's kind of like, this building's a blessing and a curse for me, because Rahera is a pretty active caster. She wants to be doing a lot of stuff, but she really, I feel like she's better off protected back here, because she doesn't want to get near any of these 120s, and even like a Boomhowler or a Dhunian can probably do some work to her. So she sticks behind the building, gets Manifest up. I decide to unpack the Stalker, and then this is where we get some Boomhowler shenanigans.
Yeah, my instinct was Dhunian and then knock him down with the retaliatory. That way I could still countercharge the Stalker. I didn't realize like the Slayer had focus on him, so I Dhunian this charge where I should have saved it for the Slayer. Yeah,
I had allocated, I think, 1 extra one to the Slayer, or maybe 3. I can't remember how many I actually put on it. But the Stalker was meant to go in to just tie up for the countercharge, but my CID policy is strange, and it's probably what most people's is. When it comes to like new models, I'm like, yeah, cool. If they come out sweet, awesome. But I'd rather pay more attention to models that are legacy models that are getting brought up. So I just don't pay attention. I haven't paid attention to Boomhowler 3's rules and didn't know that he had the knockdown countercharge business. So the Slayer did go in. The charge hit got Dhunian'd, and then I'm able to put a decent amount of damage into him afterwards and pull him off the table with my initials. So I'm sitting on 1 focus on him, so it's not the most efficient thing, but I got rid of Boomhowler 3, who I feel is a real a real nightmare.
Yes, if played correctly. So, like I said, I made a lot of mistakes this game, and that would be one of them.
Yeah, so I'm happy that that's gone. And the Slayer's just kind of hanging out up front, being a boss. I think he took quite a bit of damage from that from the fire. Not quite a bit of damage, but he took some damage from the fire check this turn too. Like he's a little beat up. So now we're walking on over to the Sepulcher, who got the treasure chest bonus this turn. I just put a little die on his base to remind myself. And I was just checking his rules because I know the Sepulcher's got a lot of things going on with it, but most of them are tied to his guns or his pull. So there's not much that he's going to get out of here other than that massive rule about making extra thralls, which I'm not going to be able to take advantage of. So over here, like I kind of messed up the charge a little bit because I have Manifest Destiny up, so I should have been rolling a bunch more dice. So I throw one out there, and then we get the extra damage on there. And I think there's something was just not right with my processing this morning, and we were doing the math like so horribly wrong because I was just not presenting numbers properly to Ethan. But you can see my damage rolls are blowing up here pretty much. I think all day we were dice -3.
You were dice -1 because you're POW 19 base, right?
Yeah, POW 19 base up to 21 with gang, and then up to 23 essentially with curse. So with you being at 24, I'm off one.
Yep. So there was like a couple of times there where you're redoing the math. You're like, oh, I forgot curse.
Yeah.
So like you're like, I add an extra 6, and then like we got to the last attack, and I was like, what's your math?
It was just a dumpster fire of numbers. Like I think there were just so many. Like I was processing the buffs from Batten and the Stone at the same time I was processing like my buffs and debuffs too. So like numbers just got funky. So we leave the Sea King on a decent amount of boxes. I think he's like got at least double digits, but under 20 for sure.
He's on not that many.
I think it's 10, at least 10.
Yeah. I saw the grid. I think this is where he was down to almost 8 boxes.
So now I've got at the end of the day, though, the Sepulcher didn't kill him, which I didn't expect him to do. I was just hoping that he would. So then that means that Kharybdis has to go and get some work done. So I need to make sure that he doesn't get tripped up on the Deathripper, which shouldn't be too difficult for me to figure out a way to do here. I've got threat ranges aplenty. So we get Kharybdis in after winging the charge around that Deathripper, and the first hit connects, and now I've got to go back through this math garbage again. I swear to God, I'm not terrible at math. There were so many weird buffs and debuffs going on here that I just forgot about everything. But we're base 16, up to 18 with gang, up to 20 with Curse of Shadows. So we're dice off 3 on this one. The only thing that really dice off 4 jeepers. See, I guess I am bad at math. I'm just the worst Warmachine player. So the unfortunate thing is I rolled for Manifest Destiny, but the Kharybdis is outside of Rahera's control because she decided to get on the flag. So I kind of have to like do this the old-fashioned way, and we end up pulling the Sea King off with a couple focus to spare and redirect them into the Mountain King. This is like I tried to get some chip damage into him thinking that it might be able to work out all right, but I don't have Curse of Shadows on him, so it really messes with the math, and all I really end up doing is just a couple damage and give you whelps.
Yeah, you did 1 damage, so I spawned a whelp.
Yeah, so not super great for Kharybdis.
Then you did 1 damage again, and I spawned another whelp.
Yeah, it's like I should have just quit while I was ahead and just left the focus on him. But that, at least I got the Sea King out. He was the one I was really worried about. And I get the Blood Priestess to base my flag, so I score my flag, but I think that's about it. There's no scoring going anywhere else.
Yep, so losing Boomy and the Sea King is a really big blow. The Sea King, I had to give up like after my horrible misplays with it. Turn 1, and then Boomy, like that, like the water made it so finicky, and it was just not a good time for him. And like I wasted the Dhunian charge and the retaliatory strike on the Stalker when I should have noticed that there was a Slayer that had to focus on it. I think I was more like just trying to protect against the Stalker, like because if he walks and jumps, I'm gonna knock him or countercharge, and then I'll retaliatory the Slayer. but he just ended up charging. So like I just instinctively was like, okay, I'll just smack him. So now I'm just trying to go through my head and figure out what this turn is going to be. I exploded one of the mines that the Colossal's on top of.
Yeah, the Sepulcher took a little bit of damage from that one.
Yeah. So there, I did ambush another Sapper behind the clock. That Sapper walked up this time to get within stealth range, and in the butt, I believe I had taken out his movement with the knock, or he was knocked down thanks to Boomy. So at dice +1, he was able to rock him off.
I think consequentially you did get his movement too in that swing because the movement was taken out with Amputate.
Yep.
So Amputate on that one, it's funny because it didn't feel so bad because it only took out 2 boxes.
Yeah, on a light, it's kind of moot, but like
on a heavy or something, it's ridiculously good.
With all the buffs, Boomy can 1 round a heavy. He can actually 1 round 2 heavies because he can Thresher twice.
Yeah.
That's cute. So, like, this is going to be a bit of a long turn for me because, like, I've lost a lot, and I still need to find a way to bounce back because, like, that top zone has collapsed almost for me because Boomy is gone. I had expected Boomy to hold that stuff down for quite a while, but then I misplayed him and lost him. So now I just have a Pyre Troll up there that can realistically affect the board. Both the Dhunians are angry, so they're +2 strength and arm, but I think only one of them is in range of the Slayer. So I make another misplay. I was like, hey, Brian, can you just run him to contest the zone? Where I was sitting, I physically couldn't see there was a flag back there, so I forgot it existed. Otherwise, that guy would have ran an extra 2 inches forward and contested the flag. So now, like, there is currently nobody contesting that flag, and I, at this point, do not remember it exists. So the hero walks up, threshers, misses. One Satyxis hits the other because he needs 6s. So, like, that's
6s for the 666.
Yeah. Stone walks up. Here, I make a mistake. I opt to walk and awaken the stone after popping the aura, and instead of running, because I was like, okay, this will net me the same, but I didn't math in the fury it's going to cost me to activate the aura, because I didn't pull the fury last turn when I activated it, so I'm actually down to 3 fury. So I popped the aura, and then I believe I might have rolled it off camera, but I only got 1. And then I tried to punch one of the Satyxis with a grunt, and he missed, of course. He needed like a 9.
Yeah, those guys are mat 5. I think everyone who plays the stone, like, it takes at least 2 or 3 games to really get the function of the stone under your belt, and then the positioning of it's a whole nother thing.
Yeah, like, it's a lot of misplays. Like, this is why I usually don't do Sid games, because I'm not, like, comfortable with them. But I just really wanted to try out this Carver list. And it's not that I'm not comfortable with them. It's just, like, all the different interactions. Like,
and it's a new faction. I mean, like, you're playing minions and you're playing Carver and you're playing Dhunians, but, like, the bulk of your list is all Trollblood stuff. So,
there are only 3 Farrow models.
Yeah.
In this list, which is not something I've ever been able to say with Carver.
So we had to spin around the Sepulcher just because he was being courteous to the Mountain King, because you couldn't quite get within 2 inches of him with his little, like, tendrils.
Yep, so Carver did mobility and batten. That way I could walk in the combat, and did the free rage thanks to the theme benefit. And the Mountain King, if you were watching the damage rolls, rolled really atrocious at dice +4.
But then he bounces back. It starts shaving off all of the boxes.
There we go. I believe I'm buying my 3rd attack, my 3rd bot attack on him.
Dice +5?
Dice +4. I'm
4.
I'm +5, yeah, because I'm POW. My arm is the same as my POW. They're both 19, and they both get a +4 swing. Or no, this is POW 23 because it's only a 4 swing. So I'm arm 24, POW 23.
Yep. So the Sepulcher goes down, but I think the Glacier King or the Mountain King only has a couple fury left to spare.
1. He buys 1 attack into Kharybdis.
Does a good amount of damage. You end up taking out his Cortex, so basically Kharybdis is dead to me.
I mean, he was out of control.
Yeah.
So, like, I knew I had a turn, but I was like, it's an attack. I'll take it. And then Brian's nice enough to let me do my kill shot attack, which actually hits the Arc Node in the woods. And then a dice +2 doesn't take out...
It takes out his head. That was the only thing that went down. Yep. So that worked out well for me, at least. It means that I've still got that tool in my back pocket. But Kharybdis losing his Cortex is not somewhere I want to be right now.
Yeah. So now I'm trying to figure out the Pyre Troll math on if I should Animus him first and then start punching, or if I should just walk and boost. I opt to just walk and boost because 2 boosts is the same as me Animusing. So I boost the hit. I believe I miss. Boost the second initial. I hit and boost damage. And then I believe I buy an attack, and I did not do well.
No, the Slayer, I think, lost one of his arms out of that exchange, but other than that, he's pretty well functional.
And then a Dhunian charges him. I'd hope to take out his movement because, I'm not expecting this Dhunian to hit. She's mat 7, so she hits. She's POW 14, so she dice -3.
And she does all right. She does enough to take out the other arm. So I have a Cortex, and I believe I don't have movement anymore. I think I've just got 1 column left in him.
Yeah, you just have your Cortex. The other Dhunian was just out, and she opted to stay back a little bit so she could protect some of the other trolls. She probably should have went farther forward, and that's it for me. Whelp on the flag.
So with where I'm at, I expected to lose my Colossal. I just wanted to trade him out for at least one of them because I feel like if I don't get one of Ethan's Gargantuans down, it's going to be a real bad game for me because the Satyxis are hard to hit, and you don't have any hit buffs with the list, but with the AoEs and me not having a Sea Witch from the Sea King, I think it wouldn't take long before they just started getting wiped out quickly. So I'm perfectly fine with taking the Sea King off for trading my Sepulcher away. So right now I'm sitting at 2 points, and I think at this point in the game I'm not thinking about scenario so much as I'm trying to think about managing the Mountain King and trying to kind of clear the top zone a little bit. I guess that's kind of a little bit thinking about scenario, but it wasn't in the forefront of my mind. I was just trying to make sure that I keep my flag safe and get the pieces that are nearby it out. So the fire doesn't go out on the Slayer, but he doesn't take any damage from it either. So that could have gone bad for him with dice off 5, but he's still up and running and gets a focus anyways. I think with Manifest Destiny, I might be able to clip through some of the boxes on the Pyre Troll. So that's kind of my goal here. So I allocate fully to the Slayer and just hope for good stuff. So I think now I'm just kind of looking around to see what it is that I need to do with things, seeing if there's anything else on Deneghra 0 that I can do to try and help influence the game a little more outside of just throwing Curse of Shadows around. And she has a few things, but not really anything that's going to super help me out right now. So I thought about unpacking the Satyxis to get that gang fighter up so I could do something more with Kharybdis, but then I pull back because I think I'm going to be throwing Curse of Shadows on the Mountain King first. So I understand that what I'm doing here probably isn't the most amazing option in the universe because the Mountain King is going to still be really difficult to take down even with Curse on it because the Kharybdis isn't in control. I don't have any focus on him. My Warwitch Siren can't get close enough to power him up to give him a focus. So I just am trying to go for doing some damage and tying him up, I guess. So, I got high hopes, but I fully understand that it might not go the way I want it to. And I decided to charge off the Satyxis Raiders. I'm still stuck in a world where I remember power swell charges with these ladies, but they don't have that anymore. So I always attribute them to doing more damage than what I think they should. I mean, gang, they have innately, which is cool, but it's just not the same.
No.
So they end up going into the Mountain King and dropping a couple boxes here and there, but you're pulling whelps out anyways, so it's not a huge deal. And part of me, and this is I infrequently play with Gargantuans, even though I really enjoy 120s. They're my favorite thing to play in the game. But I've got my Satyxis Blood Priestess or Blood Witches off in the corner, and I was I'll be able to get Grievous Wounds on it, and then haha, Mountain King, screw you. But then, so that's what Brian now is operating with, but me, Brian, now, I guess. That's not right. They were thinking that they could put on Grievous Wounds, but that's not something they can do at all.
No, not anymore.
Yep, and I've also been screwing around with Crucible Guard a lot, and the Withering Humor stops them from healing, so it's kind of like Grievous Wounds, even though it's not. I just was.
It's super Grievous Wounds.
Yeah.
You get spoiled by that stuff.
You do it. It's the. I try to bounce around factions to keep the channel providing battle reports for everyone, right? Instead of just kind of focusing in on one or two factions, and that's just my personal perspective on it. Plus, it gives me an excuse to like have a bunch of stuff. So the problem with that is switching between armies gets a little hard to remember what everything does and how it's supposed to function. But I believe Rahera is going now, and this is where now that things are starting to pick up, she charges the Sapper, or not charges, she walks over to get him because she didn't have line of sight to him, and stays just outside, just in her melee to pull him off. And I do kill him and you tough. So
he does not tough.
I thought he toughed the first. Oh, yeah, that's right. He was one. So I end up casting Manifest Destiny for free, and then I sprint back.
And you put Black Spot.
Yeah, I do put Black Spot on the Pyre Troll, and that'll help the Slayer hit a little bit easier. So now I'm kind of getting Rahera a little bit more brave up front here. I don't think I've created a landing spot for the Mountain King to trample over and get into Rahera behind the building, even though I think that'd be really a tall order for him to get into, because you're looking at hitting like a defense 18. You need like boosted
13.
Yeah, boosted 13s.
Yeah, but if I hit, I'm dice plus 10.
Yeah, and then you just rock her. So I've at least got Manifest Destiny out for free, which I feel like this is really like, if Rahera can get stuff to kill, that's when she feels like a good warcaster. But outside of that, she's just kind of casting buffs and not doing much of anything otherwise. So I think now we're getting into the activation on the Slayer. So I only get to roll one die to hit, but I only need 3s now because I'm at 7 and you're down to 10. So I'm hitting pretty well, and I'm boosting a lot of the damage rolls on this one. And I seem to be doing pretty decent with the Manifest boost rolls being dice off 3, was it?
That was just your feed attack. Now you're doing the
I'm
Satyxis
sorry. I
ones.
feeded this turn. That's what was going on here. It looked a little weird. So Kharybdis did some punching, and then the Slayer did some punching.
Yep, and then you killed a whelp, and I healed the king thanks to the Dhunian.
Yep, and then I think most of the Satyxis that were engaged with things just didn't do anything. Because the retaliatory strike from the champion hero was still there, and I just figured it was better to keep these ladies kind of blocking you up instead of doing anything else. This is where past Brian figures that I can get grievous wounds on the Mountain King and laugh by not taking free strikes from whelps, but now I feel embarrassed.
Yeah, I just put the whelp there to stop him from charging deeper into my back line.
Yeah, because I really should have been using these Blood Witches to kind of focus in on the stone a little bit more instead of just trying to tie up the Mountain King. But I do have some contesting models on the flag, and at defense 14, they're not super duper easy for you to get rid of. So they're at least serving that purpose at least, which I'm content with. But we do get into one stone guy and pop him, so that's super good, because when you're a min stone, every time I drop one of these guys, it's going to drop that Fury bank down, even if you've got Fury on it. So if I can keep the aura on that a little more shrunk down, it means that a lot of things are going to be losing this buff in Ethan's little stone aura. So now I believe I've kicked over to the Slayer, and he's hitting his attacks really well, and he's just blowing up damage rolls like crazy. Like Manifest Destiny boosts with crippled arms, and we're still doing a ton of damage to this Pyre Troll. So I believe this is the final attack that we boost damage on, and we get him to the box.
No, he's down to about 6 boxes.
Oh no, I have to do some other stuff here to get rid of him.
A Slayer with crippled arms almost killed a full health Pyre Troll.
That was at armor 19.
Yep.
So I decide to unpack my Blood Priestess, and because she's got a POW 13 attack, like it's pretty good, and she hits at mat 7, and with you having Black Spot, it's pretty likely that she gets some damage onto him. So we charge in, and we hit no problem, and I choose the attack type to just cast a spell once I kill something. So she ends up rocking the Pyre Troll off here, and I think I was trying to cast a bleed on the Dhunian and missed it. So next up I have to run the Warwitch Siren to the flag so I can score it this turn. So although I haven't quite cleared the top zone because it's going to be hard to get that Dhunian out. I'm at least happy that the Pyre Troll's gone. That's one less Animus I need to worry about. And I think this is what it is. It's the Warwitch Siren is venoming the.
No, Kharybdis was punching me.
That must be another turn. So Kharybdis is beaten on a Mountain King. I don't think I do a ton of damage.
So, like, things haven't gone terribly. Like, the fact I didn't contest that flag is really, like, it's in the back of my mind that I've given up 2 points for nothing because he auto-scored it on the end of my turn, then auto-scored it again on his turn. So, like, I'm down 3-1. My Mountain King can't move. I don't, like, that Slayer's still on about 5-6 boxes, and the Dhunian's not mad up there anymore. So, like, I can't threaten clearing that zone because I can't get anything up there to score, and the chances of me clearing the bottom zone are slim to none and for at least a turn or two. So, like, I'm on the back foot, and just giving him free points is just kind of like digging my own grave. So now I'm deep in the tank again because the stone is running out of fury. I'd like to put fury in the stone, but I need batten down the hatches 100%. I can get away without casting mobility, but I need Carver to kill some of these Satyxis that are starting to contest my backlines because nothing over there can. And I figure, you know what? This is going to be a Carver feat turn.
Yeah, for all the people who say that Carver's feat does nothing in this theme, he can be a cool overtakey weapon master guy.
Except, like, you shut your mouth because I know you're mocking me. Because, like, Carver never has enough fury. Like, usually he has to cast mobility every turn. I have one more beast that's alive who is stuck in combat and can't move, so I don't need it. So I'm going to be battening down the hatches so I can buy attacks for once. So there the stone goes. I measure again. I did not even bother to move my Dhunian within 10 after realizing she was out of 10 last turn. Like, I just hand moved her without measuring. So I can't charge there because that one is actually angry from a whelp dying. That Dhunian goes, misses. Or no, she hits.
She hits because my movement's out. She just doesn't kill him.
Nope, she leaves him on 2. So, like, I'm trying to think what's going to do it. So the Sapper ends up going, gets in the zone, chucks a bomb at his butt, hits because his movement's out in the butt, kills him, blast damage on the Satyxis, leaves her on 1.
Yep, a real good thing for me. That Satyxis Blood Priest is a really helpful and useful model. With a POW 13 blade, she does a lot of work late game. She just is an all-star.
I had really hoped to kill her, and then that would limit his clearing potential of that zone because of how wide Rahera is, so now he still has a model in the zone. Carver opts 2 feet, and then I walk my 6 inches. I decide to hug it over because I forget he has reach. So there, take my initial, need 7s. I hit, POW 15 Weapmaster, just rocks her, gets overtake. His feat does not get Berserk, so it's not as good as Madrak's feat. So
I can't believe you just quoted Madrak 2 as being the comparison for something that's better.
Yeah.
He's still a good warcast or warlock, but it's just funny.
His feat still gives overtake and Berserk, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
So, yeah. I end up missing. I buy an attack. I miss. I buy an attack. I miss. So I did batten. So I'm just sitting there naked in front of a few Satyxis at arm 20 because the stone's too far away because I wanted to catch the Dhunian in that zone to try and stop him from sweeping that zone out from behind me. Mountain King's going. He misses. He misses. He buys an attack. He finally hits Kharybdis. Cranks it.
Yeah, if you hit Kharybdis once and then almost one-shot him.
Buys an attack, hits him. So it's taken me 3 Fury and both my initials just to kill Kharybdis.
Mat 6 Gargantuans are rough sometimes.
All the Gargantuans are Mat 6.
Well, I mean, when you have them with someone who buffs their mat, they're not.
Yeah, I have Quagmire, and I debated putting Quagmire on this turn, but it's only if you're base to base, and then that means Carver wouldn't have been able to buy any attacks. He'd been able to buy 1. Like, no free upkeep in this theme, and no Rune Bearer is a little rough for Carver, but we'll talk about that later. Mountain King misses Satyxis, and I think he tried to spray the Arc Note again and missed.
It was either the Arknote or the lady who's contesting the flag. I can't remember.
I think it was the lady contesting the flag, and he missed. And yeah, he even boosted and he missed.
Yep.
He ate a couple whelps because it's during his activation now, so he healed. I rolled a 1 and the 1 and then a 3. So I have 1 whelp left alive back there that you can't see behind him.
Yep, and I think your champion hero went and just tried to carve up some Satyxis.
He threshered again, catching 2, missed 1, killed 1,
Yep.
and then I run a Dhunian into that zone.
So without contesting the flag, I end up scoring again. So within the 2 turns, I've gone up to 4, and Ethan hasn't been able to clear his flag off. So he's sitting at 1 right now. So scenario is starting to become a much more prevalent thing for me. The only trouble is that the Mountain King's towing the bottom zone. I don't really have anything that can get into the objective and reliably take it, because those Satyxis swinging at dice minus 11 is not going to be super hot.
9 with gang.
9 with gang, yeah, if they get there. But then some of them are passing through the Mountain King's melee range, so they might get nerfed by him on the way in. So the objective is not something that I'm going to be thinking about. I am looking to see if Deneghra can get Curse of Shadows onto Carver. I need a boosted 13, but you miss every shot you don't take, so I just decide to go for it. Getting the Arc Node within 8. Now Deneghra's in control range, and we miss. Not good there, but it wasn't like she was doing much anyways that turn. I'm not going to keep Curse going on the Mountain King, because there's not much there that's going to be able to do work to him. So it's just mostly just tying the Mountain King up and less about trying to kill him now. If I can keep the Mountain King occupied, I can try and drag things out to get scenario going. I just don't have a ton of pieces in the top zone to be able to reliably clear it like I want to. Like my Slayer's gone, my Stalker's gone, but I still do have Rahera and the Blood Priestess yet, and there is a Warwitch Siren hanging around up there, so things are not looking completely abysmal. So I just decide to go with the Satyxis Raiders next and just kind of spread them out a little bit to where there's no real way that Ethan can get a super great kill shot on there, although looking at it from this angle, it looks like you might be able to kill like 3 of them in one shot. Especially with Deneghra being sitting there on 0 is not super hot for her either.
I need an 11 to hit her.
Yeah, but still, you could always hit. You never know. So that's my goal here, is just to spread out, contest pieces. So the next thing is the Satyxis Blood Witches are going, and they're going to get a couple more up there to contest the flag. I think I've got 3 contesting the flag, and one of them's behind the Mountain King. So it means that Carver needs to get his hands dirty again to take care of that. So next up, I believe I
Venom the Sapper.
Yep, this is where I Venom the Sapper, and I box him, but he toughs, but he's corroded.
I Dhunian'd it.
Oh, sorry, you Dhunian'd it. So something kept him alive is the moral of the story there. But he is corroded. And next up, I'm checking out... I don't know what I was checking lines for. But the Satyxis Blood Priestess goes and starts beating on a Dhunian. She is going to be dice off, is it 7?
Armor 17, and you did 5 damage because I Dhunian'd the guy, so he didn't take damage, so he didn't get destroyed, so I didn't get +2 armor.
Yep, so we do a decent amount to her, which the Dhunians are going to be something that I want to try and take out in the long run, so getting any damage on them with something that should have died last turn is really good for me. So Rahera comes up, and she's going to have to be the one to try and take out this Sapper, because I don't want him contesting my flag later. So I take a shot with her Rat 5 hand cannon, and that one you Dhunian again, I think.
No, that leaves him on 1 box.
1 box, because I rolled bad on the dice. That's what it was. Over here,
and then
I think
he toughed when you bleeded.
Yeah, I did a bleed and you toughed. So you're knocked down, corroded. The Dhunians haven't been procced, so it's kind of like everything that's happened over here has been in my favor, even though like I didn't get to kill it.
Yeah,
which I didn't realize at the time, but now it's sitting all right. So I score again and go to 5.
So I'd really hoped the Sapper would actually die to the attack. because if the continuous effect doesn't go out, he auto dies that because he's knocked down, and dying to a continuous effect doesn't proc their healing, which they can heal each other. So like that's what I've been doing all game. When a whelp dies, one heals the other one heals the other one for the damage they've taken, and they don't get +2 strength. I haven't done the check yet here because I'm measuring some other stuff, but I'll get back to it and roll that pretty soon, I think, once I'm done doing some math. Because I'm trying to see if Carver can spray, but he's only got a spray 6 and he has reach. So realistically, he has a spray 4 or a 3.9 because he can't spray while he's engaged.
Yep. So your reach weapon kind of bones you a little bit here.
Yep. So it's better just to walk up and punch. There we do the continuous effect, doesn't go out, and I die. And then I think this is where I explain, like, no healing, because that 2-wound Dhunian would have really liked to heal.
Yeah, she's in the danger zone right now.
Because they can prevent a living warrior model from taking a damage roll by taking D3, but when a model dies from an enemy attack, they can heal any model, living or undead, or construct D3. So there, that one just walks up, tries to punch a Satyxis.
Yep, you're going after the Blood Priest here.
Yep. Hits, and then POW 12 still kills her because she's only on 1 box. So now I can finally start contesting his flag, which it's only top of 5. I'm finally contesting it. Like, no big deal.
Yeah, that house has been a real pain in the butt for you in the mind space way.
The house is space. The house is 4 inches itself, so I can't even contest the flag from this side of it. So I have to physically get to the sides of it past his army to contest. So it's like, it's been a real pain. Like, the only turn I could have was when I ambushed and didn't run the extra inch because the sappers are speed 6. Like,
yeah, it was an out of sight, out of mind thing.
Yeah, that's what, like, 3D buildings usually screw me because I forget what's behind it, and then it cost me the game. Last time it was like a gorehound through a building that killed my caster because I didn't see him run it there.
Yeah,
and I forgot it existed.
One of the Madison tricks has always been the iris behind 3D buildings at Pegasus Games.
So now I'm just trying to plan out my turn because, like, I'm mapping out, like, I think at this point, like, I'm trying to think if I'm screwed because he's up 4 CPs on me, 5-1. If I can clear my flag, I might be okay, but I have yet to clear my flag. So that's...
Yeah, there's a lot of pirate ladies over there contesting that thing.
So the Dhunian is able to charge Rahera and get within 4 because, like, I might as well charge her if she's sitting there, but I need a 9 to hit her.
Yeah, I'm def 16, so it's not likely. And if you do, I still have quite a bit of focus on me, so I shouldn't be taking a lot of damage from it.
No, and, like, it's more of just to make the attack.
Yeah.
So Stone walks up. They pop Aura, they awaken it, finally roll more than 1, so they get 2 Fury back for it. So it's a net gain of 1. So it actually catches the Dhunian on that side. Or both the Dhunians are just in. So now, I believe...
I think you're working out the Mountain King a little bit because... Yeah, you're moving him over, and I think you need to turn him a bit.
Yep, because I need to be able to kill shot spray that lady that's contesting. I boost the hit, the punch, I boost the hit, the spray, and I miss the spray. So at this point, I think I'm screwed.
Yeah, you have no way to get rid of that Satyxis that's contesting your flag.
Yep. So that means I'm not scoring. I have 1 model contesting his flag, and that's not good enough. So then the Mountain King boosts another punch into a lady, hits the champ hero, runs his 10 to get there, and then spins around so that way he's not getting the rear arc. And like so I have 2 models contesting, and if he kills either of them, I lose, or both of them, I lose.
So I've got my work cut out for me. I have to kill 1 Dhunian through another Dhunian because I believe they can stop each other's roll, right?
No, because they're not living.
Gotcha. They're the divinity.
You have to kill a Dhunian and kill... You either need to kill 2 Dhunians or you need to kill a Dhunian and a full health champ hero.
Yep. So the first thing I end up doing is I think I'm going in. This is going to look weird when I do it, but I'm digging deep into the toolbox, and I was thinking that she had Dark Seduction, so I end up hitting the doofus. the champion hero. I couldn't remember why I couldn't think of his name. And then my other idea was to then move Deneghra over here to Curse of Shadows, the Dhunian. She's engaged, so I still need that like pocket 13. And then we go back and realize that the seduction is different from dark seduction, so I need to be in base to base with him, and I don't need to roll the hit. So I just reverse manufacture this to get the Warwitch Siren in base with the champion hero and then move him away from my flag, so that way I don't even need to deal with him anymore. And I'd end up missing the Curse of Shadows by like 2 with Deneghra. And I'm not too worried about not having something on the flag, because my goal here is to have Rahera walk behind the Dhunian, which is where she's at now, but this building's blocking her out. And I end up cranking the damage on the Dhunian knot and take it out in one shot. That allows me to sprint back to the flag and score my 5 points, and that closes out the game for Rahera. So overall, I think the Rahera list is fun. I don't know if it's good, but it definitely was a fun thing to play. I think when Rahera gets into the mix of things is when the list really comes alive. But staring down the barrel of 2 Arm 24 Gargantuans, I was really up against the ropes right away with it. And I think if Ethan didn't move the mount, or didn't make the error with the Sea King right away, I think the game would have been real different, even if you consider the mistake with Boomhowler.
Yeah. Like that, as soon as I did that, and I'm like, I think I said it out loud, like, does this cost me the game? And you're like, no, like, in my head, I was like, this might have cost me the game, because, like, this is a game of extreme threat ranges, and I can't just, like, he walked effectively.
Yeah, you can't afford to have any 34 or 37 point model not affecting the table as early as possible, because there's 2 things you leverage with the Carver list. It's the high armor and high threat range. And with one of those being removed from the equation, it made it so that I was just able to take a Sea King without any real danger to myself. Because I think, like I said, if I balance out the trade, the other 120 I can mitigate. I still don't know if there might have been a better opportunity for you to just trample the Mountain King over and just start tearing up the back side of my table. But I think the couple turns that he was doing stuff, he was trying to like get into that the oh no mode of like, I need to clear the flag and the Mountain King needs to do it.
There was nothing else too.
I think I feel maybe if the Mountain King trampled over in those late turns, instead of spraying that Satyxis, you might have been able to get a landing spot behind my Satyxis Raiders and then punch the objective.
If the problem is, if I trample him, he still needs boosted 9s to hit your Satyxis, boosted 8s. So, like, I don't have any attacks on the objective. Like, that would have been a play. But I was like, I figured he could punch ladies faster than, like, I thought he would just actually do better in combat, and I needed him to clear off the back part of because I had nothing in the back lines to clear, because Carver can only do so much when he's when he's spending most of his stack. And, like, the Sea King is the answer for the infantry in the list. Once the Sea King goes down, I don't have infantry clearing besides the Pyre Troll, and the Pyre Troll got ganked by a
very,
Slayer
very
that only
Slayer.
had Gore-Tex left, even through Batten. He was just out of stone because I misplayed the stone aura because it should have ran.
Yeah. Manifest Destiny did a lot of the work there for me with him.
Yeah.
And Black Spot. Like, I know that up front Rahera looks like she's just so busy and has so much going on, but she has a lot of tools to solve a lot of problems. It's just that she solves them in weird ways, like being able to get out 2 of her spells for free with her what is it? It's not Blood Boon. I think it's like Blood Weaver. Yeah, it's really a neat thing that she can do to make sure that she can fuel her jacks. I think I would have been a little bit better off if I would have tinkered with the list a bit in terms of getting the unit attachments onto some of these things. But overall, I feel like her list was built all right and can play well. She's definitely not like an A+ caster or anything like that, but she definitely brought an interesting and unique game that didn't make it feel like she was just a poopy scar.
No, like, Escort's a good spell. Gangfighter is basically a feat. And then, like, her feat, let's talk about her feat. I think it's, like, one of the most Scornergy feats there is. Like,
some would say it's an optional feat.
Okay, it's a # option feat. So you can either A, activate Rahera first, manifest Destiny, feat, and none of your stuff's in melee, or you have the option of activating your Jax, getting them into combat, then activating Rahera, feeding after casting Manifest Destiny after your Jax have activated.
Her feat almost kind of works on the presupposition that you got your Jax into combat the previous turn, somehow by the grace of Toruk, survived the retaliation from your opponent, and then that way you can get everything you want out of the feat because you activate Rahera first, put up Manifest Destiny, then you use the free attack to try and clear them up, and then boom, you can dig deeper. I think that's like the hoop dream of Rahera, but Cryx Jax aren't the most survivable thing in the universe, and yeah, you're right. Like, I just was in a good position to get the feat to do something.
Yep.
Where,
I mean, all the living warrior models get to make an attack, but it's like...
But they're Satyxis.
Yeah, like, woo. I mean, if you take, like, the Ogre in and stuff, like, they can do, like...
Sure, they might
POW
hit a little
12,
harder.
POW 13.
Yeah, something like that. It depends on which flavor of Ogre. I think the Ogres for this... The Ogren, sorry. They're... I want to experiment with them more in this theme, but I just love Satyxis so much. They're so good. Like, I'd rather have...
They're the best gang fighter proccers in the theme.
I'd rather have the high defense and not good armor with some good mobility instead of having the Ogren, which feel like they're very middle-of-the-road everything stats, which, in my opinion, is victim stats in the game right now.
They have the tough no knockdown bubble, and, like, if you don't have an answer for tough no knockdown and you're making your tough checks, like,
yeah,
the Ogren are the most annoying pain in the asses in the world, but if you have if you have grievous wounds or something, like, it's not so bad.
I can't remember, maybe you'll be able to tell me this because I'm not going to look it up, but does Black Spot allow you to kill something with a melee attack and then take a ranged attack?
If you have the ability,
quick work?
like if you're like your Colossal
if you have a
could.
dual shot or something.
No, it's just more of like, say you're engaged by multiple enemies, you kill one, you're engaged with another one, and you normally can't shoot while engaged. Say like you're not a Colossal, you wouldn't be able to shoot.
Yeah, I guess what I'm thinking is like the Ogren, like Iron Belchers or whatever, like if they charge, kill something, then with Black Spot they could shoot if they're not engaged.
I believe so, yes.
Because that seems really neat and maybe might be worth exploring, but I feel like with this list I made everything real tight and kind of like I put a lot of eggs in a lot of different baskets, so wasn't able to get all of the support things that I wanted. I think we discussed maybe taking the Satyxis Raiders down to a min unit, but given what I was going into, it felt good. Like post hindsight, the full unit felt really good into this list because I just had a lot of ways to tie them up.
Yeah, and the UA wouldn't have really done anything because my AoE's like, I probably wouldn't be trying to hit you. The Pyre Troll sets you on fire.
Yeah.
The Sea King corrodes you, so...
No matter what, they're just going down.
Like, I'm not going to try and kill you with blast damage. I'm just going to try and kill you with continuous effects. And otherwise, like, I think Carver can do well in this theme. It's just... I was really, really hyped for Carver in this theme, which I try not to do with Sid, when they first posted it, and I believe Hungerford misspoke and said that the Trollblood models became Farrow models. So I was like, oh, baby, telling me, like, Brawlers and Maulers and Champs now get his feet. Like, Carver's been dying to get some good infantry for his feet. And I was like, he finally has that, and he finally has Reach Beasts. Like, this is going to be so nice. And then somebody's like, no, they just become minions. And it's like, well, shit.
Yeah.
Back to me just being no feet.
He's one of the few things that is like kind of outside of CID right now that is like not just taking champions, which I think is one of the really interesting things about CID right now is that they're wanting to test this Vengeance of Dunia thing where it's mixing minions and trolls together, which should be really exciting and cool. But like a lot of the benefits that we're getting right now for mixing Farrow together with Trollbloods is coming back down to champions. Like, I don't mean to begrudge the Trollblood position, but like everything is champions. Like the theme, like Azello with champions is insane. If Carver was making them Farrow, it'd be nutty. Everything is champions.
Yeah, and like the pig infantry, as it stands right now, besides Valks, like I have zero interest running them in this theme because like they're not balanced for the theme. Like they're just kind of thrown in, and then once they get the Pharaoh Sid themselves, maybe they'll be worth it. But like you can't even take Slaughterhousers in the theme. Like it's just Pharaoh models with guns.
Yeah, it's a little awkward, and I think the reason why it feels awkward is because the theme's blending a lot of melee elements in it, so they can build these melee type lists with it, but I think it's supposed to be like Creel Company 2.0.
Yeah,
but it's just not hitting the mark.
Yeah, like with the Barrage teams, Gunny, and like I don't even want to talk about the dumpster fire that is the Sid right now.
Yeah,
so like there's
rough.
enough bitching going on about it. I am not emotionally dedicated to the Sid, so I don't want to waste time like complaining. If you want to complain about the Sid, you go ahead. But I feel like that's been enough.
I don't think I want to complain about it so much as like compare it really. Like the Legion CID took a lot of really like mopey legacy models that needed some help, and they almost hit the nail on the head every single time an update came out. It wasn't like they ever really teased them back. I think the Legionnaires maybe could have come out a little bit better than what they did, but for the most part, I'm still using them even, and they feel okay. But like the warders in CID just aren't feeling like they're doing anything important. Like I don't like where they're heading with them, and I will still maintain that having 8 boxes in this game is no longer a ridiculous a ridiculous thing to put out there. Like they could probably get that back and be okay. If every single 5-box model got 8 boxes, it'd be all right. At least in my opinion, there's just so little difference between them. It doesn't matter to me. But the big thing was like seeing that most of the CID progressions that have happened recently have been each week goes by and things get better, and not just better as in the models get better, but the execution of the CID updates gets better, like the quality of the improvement or the quality of the nerf. But in this second one, it was just like they were like a used car salesman. We're slashing all the efficacy left and right. If you want good models, you won't find them here because we're going to slash them in half. And I'm not trying to begrudge them because like Ragnar going up to Pulverizer having being a model unit buff is really sweet. And Madrak 3 didn't get changed at all, which I was super shocked over. And there might be a few other things that are good, but for the most part, everything else got nailed down real hard. So with CID only being 3 weeks, I kind of fear for some of those new models and how they're going to come out. I really hope that they get some of their groove back and that Madrak 3 gets a little bit better too. And that's that kind of the champion thing, right? Because of the Ragnar change and the Madrak change, that's all just like champions. That's what you play with them. I mean, Madrak, you make the argument for Fen Blades, but I think instead of continuing down the Trollblood toilet bowl, because I think there's a lot of salt out there over it, and I believe in the CID process for the most part right now, and I really hope that things change for the better in week 3 so that we can play a Trollblood game where like we have really cool rules for new models instead of just like throwing Carver and Herpen to gargantuans out there. But we'll see how it shakes out. I don't want to make it seem like I'm begrudging everything CID, but it could be. It just was a really awkward shift from the way that the Legion CID went to how this one ended out.
Well, and like now this is like a cross-faction theme where it's like we're not playtesting half the cross-faction.
Yeah, and they did say Farrow was eventually getting an update. It's just not on the radar right now. Like Farrow will change eventually. They will get a CID again, but we don't know how that's going to affect this.
So it's like you're trying to playtest these things, ignoring half of the stuff because it's like why playtest this with Farrow stuff when there's no point doing that until the Farrow update hits, and then like you play test this with the new benefits because like maybe this does break Brigands, but who knows if Brigands are changing in the next one. So like, and I think people are more like,
or Commandos even, because Commandos have a ranged weapon there in the theme.
Oh yeah, they're Commandos. Like I had worried that this theme was just going to become Thornfall Willworker Food 2.0 because it's like this theme even gives the trenches. It's like, why are you doing this to me? It's just, it feels like I would want to run champs, and now it's like I get good, hard-hitting, survivable infantry, which is not something Farrow can usually say.
Yeah, it's like Azazelo almost becomes automatically this is his list he plays.
Unless you want to run like the Will Work for Food Archon spam lists, which like I'm not gonna knock it. Like
no, I
he
think
runs Archons amazingly.
It's a good list, but like the amount of efficacy he gets out of champions is just massive.
Yeah, like they aren't Farrow, sadly. Like when I thought they became his henchmen, I was like windmill slamming, like this is where he lives. But he's still like they're still def 16 under feet because they're 12 base, D-line the 14. He gives them +2 def from feet. And then if you distraction a unit trying to punch them, they're effectively def 18 with riposte. And now they're just a casually +3 strength and arm from the feet. Like, they're what, POW 15 Weapon Masters under stone?
Yeah, something like that.
I mean, yeah. I mean, that's okay.
And with 2 attacks and overtake.
Yeah, it's all right.
It's decent. But yeah, I don't, like I said, I don't mean to begrudge the CID changes. I just really think that the atmosphere from the Legion CIDs to this one is just really is not in a good direction. It was a real stinker to see that the momentum and excitement for what was going on with Vengeance of Dunia kind of just petered right out with the way that the week 2 CID was presented.
Yeah, like there's a big what's the phrase I'm looking for? There's big expectations and like big hopes on week 3 dramatically altering the course of this Sid, but like I don't know like where people are sitting on that and what they're hoping is going to switch the Sid, because at its core, I guess you wrote me into this. Gunny 2 I think is unbalanceable. Like, that's just my hot take. He is a gunline caster, and at their core, when you design a gunline caster, they are either on one side of the spectrum, you get the Sloan, and you get the week 1 Gunny 2, who is like, this is oppressive and a negative play experience, and I kill your caster trivially, and this is super fun for me, and you have no way of stopping it because I stop shield guards, I strip stealth, blah, blah, blah. I don't even have to hit you.
And they solved blast damage.
My bombers hitting you do POW full strength POW 16s, and it's like, isn't this super fun? I kill your def 20 caster without ever hitting him. It's like playing Nemo 3 pre-Nemo nerf and pre-E-Leap nerf, and it's like your opponent's defensive tech and stats don't matter. You just kill their caster. Or you go the other end of the spectrum and gunline casters just suck because they don't do enough. Like, there's no middle ground for gunline casters. Either they're way too good and you hate playing them and they end up like Sloan, or they're really bad and you don't take them because they're just bad.
Yeah,
that's my hot take.
I think when Gunbjorn 2 first came out, he kind of skyrocketed to being like the best warlock in Trolls. I don't think there's many people who would disagree with that, and that's only if you take into consideration that the Dhunian Knot should have never came out of CID like the way they did. Like, giving Kolgrima boosted everything forever was just not good for her. But I do believe that Gunbjorn 2 definitely needs some finesse, but you're correct. It's really difficult to find a safe space for gunline casters to exist and not be considered bonkers broken. And that the Gunbjorn kind of having all these ways to mitigate the things people bring to deal with gunline casters is just going to be really difficult to work with. And it's either, like you had said, with Expose being the real big trigger spell here, it's either busted or not good enough.
Yep, because now, like right now, it's an offensive spell. Fun fact, half of the shield guards running rampant in the meta are spell warded because they're stupid battle priests.
Then you've got, on top of that, you've got the, I think one of the other things people talk about is trying to make it more like Mage Sight, where you could put it down and ignore those things. But the problem then is Gunbjorn would have to, his whole army would have to kill everything in front of him and within threat range, and that AoE 5 doesn't really cover enough to do that. So you're getting back into this cyclical thought again of the casters are either too good or too bad.
Yeah, because if you're going to go put that down, you're probably killing their caster.
You've also got no Rune Bear.
Yep, no Rune Bear really hurts a lot in this thing. Like, I was really excited for... And then there's no whelps. Like, I get they don't want pig-heavy spine whelps. Like, that was why I was so excited for Carver, because I'm like, boom, he gets a Rune Bear. He's finally, like... He can have an extra fury to upkeep that spell and not have, like, a spell slave. He's a 14-inch control area, so his beast... Because turn 1, I had to walk, because if I would have charged, the Pyre Troll would have been out of my control thanks to mobility. Like,
yeah. No,
minions
I think
are just strapped by Focus 6, and I was so excited to get a Rune Bear, and they're like, no.
I think the Rune Bear could exist in here if they put that Mage Sight type expose ability on Gunbjorn 2, then maybe it's okay to put the Rune Bear in this list. I don't think it's a big, huge issue.
They just wanted it to be different from other themes, because, like, I mean, you got to differentiate somehow. It's like Sons of the Tempest not having Squire because they don't want Squire in every theme. And then a lot of people were like, well, this sucks. I'm not going to play Sons of the Tempest because I want a Squire.
It's because just the tool, like when you design a support tool, especially in Trolls where they have so much support and so much good support, it's really hard to play without it because a lot of the other casters and things that are built into the faction are balanced around the fact that that thing exists. Like the Runebearer being changed to having an increased control range was a Mark III update, and I can't remember if it was a launch at Mark III update or if it happened later.
I feel like it was later.
But at any rate, the reason why it was doing that was because it took all of our Fury 5 Warlocks and gave them a little bit more control over the game, because people were like, oh, well, you couldn't have Madrek or Borka with Fury 6, even though that really doesn't matter much anymore. But then this way you can get that extra control range so they don't have to brick up and are kind of hindered by... Because I think one of the interesting things about Trolls sometimes is you can just charge out of your control range. Yep. So it was a good way to mitigate Trollblood threat ranges, because I can threat for a long distance, especially when you looked at someone like Doomshaper 3, but I could easily charge out of my control range.
Yeah, when you got those Fury 5 locks, like it's hard. Even Carver, like he's had that problem. I've had Roadhogs that I'm like, if I go the full threat on this, it's out of my control, because like now, like I'm super excited for Rush too. So you can rush a Roadhog, you can full bore it, you can more mobility it, so it's effectively speed 12 and it's charging 15 inches. That's super cool. And so you realize unless you're about 2 to 1.5 inches in front of it, it's charging out of your control.
Yeah, I got high hopes for Vengeance of Dunia, but that week 2 just kind of like really brought everyone's mood way down. And I think that is not just bad for the overall community's like feelings and thoughts towards it, but I also think that it might be not the greatest for the designers and developers for the game either. I really don't know how they expected to react to almost slashing everything's efficacy in half. It wasn't like people were going to say, yeah, that makes sense, this is good. Like, Troll players have been really, like, I think a lot of them will probably say we've been a little bit low on the power curve consistently for a long time, ever since the days of EE and Ruins and Meat Mountain, where the warders got nerfed down to nothing. I even have a t-shirt that's devoted to the great nerf of warders. But I think it was a lot of Troll players for a long time felt like happy with the existence of mediocrity, and now that we got a theme that could try and bump us up a lot, watching our hopes just dashed was really not the greatest.
Yeah, Trolls haven't had like hope since Storm of the North. I remember like Troll players were really excited for that, but that was like what, 2 years ago now?
It was like Colgrima and the Bears really
and the
were built on the back of that.
When that was hot for a minute.
For a second, and then people read the card and they were like, oh yeah, this is not good. I'm still surprised that the Hoochhaller isn't in the CID, but I think we've been railing on CID for a while, so we'll probably cut it here and look forward to week 3 CID, which will definitely get another. When week 3 CID hits, I'm 100% playing a Trollblood game, so we'll see how that goes.